All right, everyone. We are just going live. We'll give it a second or two for people to get the notification. So, welcome, Mark. I don't know, Mark. Have you ever met Ashley Buckholt before?
No, I have not. Ashley, nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you too, Mark.
So Ash literally has been in the industry his whole life. His parents had a small lumber yard when he was growing up.
Wow.
Uh, what you sent us something out on LinkedIn once about driving a particular forklift, and oh my gosh, so many people responded about that was the first forklift they drove. What was that?
It's a Heister 80, man. That's what I learned to drive everything on.
Wow. Ashley, where was the lumberyard located?
So it was in northern Illinois, up in a town near Fox Lake, Illinois, kind of near the
Okay.
Wisconsin border.
Yeah. Very busy, competitive area.
Yeah. It was interesting. It was that was back in the day where those local lumberyards owned the areas, and if another lumberyard drove through, you called the guy, right? Until then, all the big chains came in, and it was a free for all.
Yeah. And then you went through that period where we had these things called home centers that didn't quite work out.
Yeah, like Craft Handy Andy and
Yeah.
Builders Square.
Yep.
Builders Square was the big one, right?
Yeah, for Builders Square.
Yeah, and then they figured the model out, and yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. We're going to get the Smart Market going here. Nick, if you could bring up the slide, we'll talk a little bit about what we got going on today. Nick, are you going to put up the? There we go. All right. It is Friday the 15th. Halfway through the month already. Can't believe that. Today we have Mark Mitchell with Whizard Strategy as our guest speaker and thought leader. But before we get into Mark, I just want to bring Ash in and kind of have a little recap for the week on what he saw in the market, what he heard on his live shows from industry experts, which, by the way, had a great week of live shows with real experts from this industry. One new guest this week, which was Random Lengths, Dustin Gelbert. So, Ash, take it away.
Yeah, no, Mark, I'm also looking forward to hearing from you. Honestly, I watch all your stuff on social media, and I'd love to hear a little bit more about you. So I'll stick around. Looking forward to that.
Okay.
So what I heard a little bit, Mike, we came off the BCMC show last week with all the big framers, the truss manufacturers, and the market was really moving, had momentum going into this week. So this week it's kind of been that, why the digital market works so well, like with the materials exchange platform, everybody is calling people and being put on hold, waiting for feedback, waiting for people to get back from lunch. So it's busy. Couple themes that going on right now: logistics. Had a conversation with some of the people on our smart calls and on our lunch with lumberman calls, and Matt Lehman's This Week in Lumber, or This Week in Lumber and Lunch with Lumberman. There's so much wood being put into different reloads right now, and I think one of the reason is people don't want to be caught like they were in the Q1, Q2 of this year. But the other interesting thing is trucking is getting so expensive. People that normally used to keep reload wood at one or two locations are now keeping them at six or seven, because you used to be able to service 3 or 4 states out of one location. You can't anymore. You physically can't make that haul. So what they're doing is railing it in to multiple reloads and putting multiple amounts of wood in there. That's one thing. The second thing is there's supposed to be another duty announcement come out sometime before the end of the year. And in some cases, the rumor is where that Canadian duty will potentially increase substantially. Some mills didn't have any duty in the last one, and they're supposedly going to be saddled with that. Again, that's an unknown, but there's supposed to be something come out in mid-November on that. So that is one thing that is getting into the market, why people are trying to buy stuff before this so-called duty comes out, which could be in some cases, a 50 or 100% to some of these mills of what it currently is. We all know that facts and rumors are all interesting things, so we'll see what comes out. But there is a lot of buying in anticipation of that. 2x4 is really strong in pine because the truss markets have order files out 3 to 6 months. It's bleeding over into the other lengths. Treaters are starting to buy, and just spruce is starting to move too, also because of that duty rumor that's coming out. But I push everybody to get on the platform and look at things. The market's continuing to stay strong. as everybody says, things can't reverse until the momentum stops, and the momentum seems to still be up. So come to mxlumber.com and take a look at what we have to offer. Mike, I'll kick it back to you and Mark now to finish her off.
All right. Thanks, Ash. As always, great insight. I cannot recommend enough checking out Ashley's shows on Wednesday and Thursday at noon. I'm doing a show now on Tuesdays at noon talking about lumber futures. So no shortage of information coming from the team at Materials Exchange. And if you would like us to cover something else, please, by all means, reach out to us and we'll see if we can cover it. So with no further ado, I welcome Mark Mitchell, the Whizard. I love your name, the Whizard. That's pretty awesome. Where'd that come from? How'd you get the Whizard?
It came from a client a long time ago. A client who just said, Mark, you just have a unique way of seeing the world. When I give you a problem that we're having, it's like you connect some dots that most other people don't connect. And it's kind of like, he said, you're the Whizard. Because I come back with observations that they hadn't thought about before.
Perfect. So give us the 30-second of what Whizard Strategy is all about and what do you do?
So Whizard Strategy is a consulting firm for building material companies that is focused on selling through the channel of distribution. So if you're a manufacturer and you want to grow your sales, we're going to look and say, is the issue with the distributor, with the dealer, we'll say with the builder, contractor, where is the issue, and how do we get the channel to want to sell your product? In the case of lumber dealers, it's like, okay, how do I become more, how do I get more builders to buy from me? How do I keep my current builders or contractors loyal to me? So it's always about the channel and trying to figure out ways to do things that, let's say it isn't about having the size of your checkbook, how much money you can spend to do something. It's about smarter thinking. Like, how do you talk to the builder? What do you say to them? And how do you change the builder's perhaps perception of the value that you provide?
Yeah, that, it's funny, as intimate as a dealer or distributor or manufacturer can be with their industry, sometimes they're just too darn close. And they don't have that capacity to take a step back and look at the big picture. And it sounds like that's where you would step in, is you would do a deep analysis up and down the chain. Yes. And uncover maybe a nugget of gold or uncover a pothole that they've fallen in. So
yes.
So that's cool. I can only imagine you've got a lot of perspective and potential opinions along the way. We just came back from the BCMC show down in Omaha. And the overall theme, and this has been the theme for several years now, is about labor. And it's the throttle holding us back, and not throttle, the governor holding back the industry basically right now. We talked about this a little bit getting ready for the call. So, what's your perception on labor and how it's affecting everyone? And what do you see happening in the industry that's going to change because of it?
Well, I'll start with the home builder, and that is, before COVID, the home builders were telling me like their biggest challenge was framers. Like so that there was a thing that they would say, I'm selling 600 homes a year. I could sell 700 if I could build them, and my number one problem is framers. Now, if I fix the framer problem, I'd run into my next problem. But for today, it's framers, and it wasn't like availability and or prices and things. It was just there are not enough framers, and so now the builders have been faced with material shortages, longer lead times, inability to get accurate information. As well as labor shortages.
And so let's highlight the last one there, because this will be the shameless plug for Materials Exchange. The inability to get accurate information.
Yes.
My opinion on that is we are such an unconnected industry. We've got pockets of innovation and technology, but not connected up. And I'm saying internal companies, I hear this, but what's more distressing to me is externally, we're not connecting to each other and passing information digitally, which of course materials exchange is about. Is that do you see is that what you're seeing sort of as well?
Yes, I think that my perspective, taking a bigger picture, is back, in 2008-9, we went through a recession, and every recession is different, and that one particularly hit housing and construction hard, and so everybody suffered, they suffered declines in certainly sales volume and probably income and so forth. And then as things started to come back, it was almost like, well, I have to make back that money I lost. So if I had 5 customer service people, and I'm talking starting at the manufacturer, if I had 5 customer service people, and because of recession, I cut it back to 2 or 3, I'm in even as my sales volume is going back up, I'm in no hurry to add to that capability. So I want to, we can get by with 2 customer service people, right? And so when the builder calls the dealer and says, when will my doors be delivered? And the dealer, should be able to talk to the manufacturer and get that information. And so it was before COVID, the levels of support or customer service from the manufacturers were getting worse and worse, just dropping off. When I talk to large CEOs of large distributors, and I say, what's the best thing a manufacturer can do to earn more of your business? And they said, oh, that's really simple. Just do what you say.
Right.
I mean, it seems like a basic principle in business is do what you say, but apparently in the building materials industry, we kind of lost sense of that. And so that puts the dealer in a very difficult position where, today, the companies have kind of like buckled down and tightened up even more, in which they'll say, well, we don't know when we're going to ship that to you. And one builder last week was telling me about a big company he's been buying products from for over 20 years. He's been loyal to them, and that the best he can get from them, and he and his dealer can get from the manufacturer is, well, hey, we got some good news. A truck left for you today. Can you tell me what's on that truck? No, I don't know that. I just know it's for you. So I don't know. Let me see. So it's for which house or how many? Which I can't plan for next week when the truck arrives. Okay, so it's like Christmas morning. We're gonna see what's in there and then decide. Okay, now what we do? And it's like, are you kidding me? And
which is crazy because when you really think about the construction industry, is a 24-month planning cycle at a minimum, right? Like the people with the money, which would be the developer or the home builder eventually, or the home developer, they're planning 24 months out, yet we're finding these bottlenecks right down at the last possible minute. And
yes,
what I hear in what you're saying is that because there's no visibility of lead times and of availability, what I'm going to do as a supplier is I'm going to inventory more, which exasperates the problem, right? I'm going to build inventory. And we saw that on that last run up. Across the board, in lumber at least, across the board, these guys are like, oh, you know what? If the lumber's going to be so expensive, I better have a little more than I need. I'm going to put 10% more in. And then, of course, it caused a horrific crash.
But you also, taking that a step further, depending on the product, we're seeing a contractor or builder walking into a lumber dealer and asking, oh, do you have some of these? And they'll say, yes, we do. And then his next question is, how many do you have? Oh, I have 100. Okay, I needed 12, but I'll buy all 100. Okay, just to protect myself. Okay, because 2 weeks ago you didn't have any, so I'm going to go ahead and buy it all. Well, now you just screwed up all the other lumber dealers' customers. Sure. So it's kind of a new world that we're kind of in mindset of, well, somebody walks in with money and to buy a product and want to sell it to them. Well, is that the smartest thing to do in today's world? Are you?
Yeah, let's continue on the communication line. We talked a little bit about when the manufacturer wants to introduce a new product, and this kind of amazes me, by the way, that more new products that would be less labor intensive haven't come into the market, some labor saving products. But one of the reasons you explained to me was this dysfunction in communicating down the supply chain, how a new product, the value proposition, how it might work. Expand on that for a second.
Well, if you have a product that will, one way to look at it is will enable me to complete the project sooner. Okay? So builders are being asked today by some people like Integra will say to the builder, their first question is, can you tell me how much it costs you for every extra day it takes to build your house? If you can't answer that question, I can't help you. And so now builders are sitting there going, gee, if I could get a home done in 2 weeks faster, that would be worth $5,000 to me, right? So now all of a sudden the price of something is in relation to, you can save me 2 weeks, that is worth $5,000, and you're only going to charge me $3,000 more for this product. Okay, that's a good investment, right? Where in the past it would be, oh no, I can buy this for $5,000 less. And so they're changing their math. They're changing. So that's one, is this what do we want to call it? Time to completion, cycle time, whatever. The second one is simply that this product can be installed faster. This product can be installed with less skilled labor. This product is less likely to result in a costly callback. Okay, and a callback is expensive. One, even if it's like, I don't care as the builder, my contractor it's on his dime to come back and do it, there's still a cost. Even if the cost is to deal with the unhappy homeowner and call the contractor and manage the process. And the other is, many times the homeowner then will go onto Facebook and talk about what a crappy builder you are. And all of those are really scary things. So it has also amazed me that we've not seen the building material companies, manufacturers, stepping up to the plate with more innovative solutions that help you get the project done sooner or save labor. And so that to me is what made the ZIP system so successful literally overnight. Was, here's the builders for years have been saying, okay, I understand I've got to put sheathing, and I understand that I have to put a house wrap on here. That's in just simple me. That's twice around the house. That's I've got to have the labor go around the house 2 times. I've got to have 2 products I've got to buy, manage the sourcing of that, and 2 chances to make mistakes, particularly with the house wrap. And so here comes somebody that has a premium priced product that it's like, my mental thing is I only have to go around the house 1 time, and I'm not going to have any blow offs or torn seams and so forth. They have to go back and be fixed. And so, that was one that kind of just jumped right out. And I have been surprised that in so many other categories, whether it's, insulation or siding or other exterior siding, so many other shingles is another area that to me there's been like no innovation.
What I mean, that's a great point. What is a product like Zip that you see coming out now that maybe hasn't been adopted, that you think is going to be truly innovative?
Well, I just I'm going to give an example of a product, a company that in Utah that makes basement window wells. And they make basement window wells out of I'll just use the term plastic, but it's very durable and all those kinds of things. And traditionally basement window wells are I'll call it corrugated metal. Right. And they serve their purpose. They're not particularly attractive. They're $250, but they can get easily dented, they can rust, they can corrode, they can start to not look good, have some problems. And so this company came out with a similar version, but made of a very high quality plastic composite. And they first went and showed it to the builder, and the builder said, "Oh, that is much better than what we're using today. But I'm not having any problems with that today, and I've got other things that are more important. And also, if there's a problem with one of those metal window wells, my contractor has to fix it at his own dime, so I don't really care." And so we learned, like, okay, let's go call on the foundation contractor. And he looked at it and went, "Oh my gosh, wow. I'm just going to go tell my builders that we're going to change to this. I'm not going to ask them. I'm not going to sell them. We're just making this change because I've got two guys whose whole job is to travel around replacing window wells. That's their job. I can now have those guys do other things." And
so you're talking about finding the pain point and who
yeah.
has it. Yep.
And so what I see many times is I see the builder. Builders, people think that builders are slow to change, and they are, but they are to be competitive today. They are constantly looking at everything they do and how to do it more, how to say, efficiently. And I mean, yes, they look at, should we have granite countertops, or should we have this feature or something? They have to constantly wrestle with that. Like if I'm building a $500,000 house, I've got two other builders also building the same house, and so I have these products that are in there, like granite countertops, that at that price point I have to have. But I can't charge $501,000. I have a $500,000 house that I have to make a profit. So now, I can, where can I present a desirable home that I can make a profit on? And so they keep looking more and more at, where am I wasting money? Where am I wasting time? Where am I wasting labor? How can I be more efficient? So I see them looking, and they depend on the manufacturer rep to talk to them, but there are fewer and fewer of those. And so, the smaller, certainly the top 20 builders have no trouble meeting with company reps, but as you start to get smaller, I know some, I would call it, top, builders that are in the, let's say 60th largest builder, and I say, "Why do you go to the builder show?" And they go, "Well, that's the only time I get to meet my rep is at their booth." Okay, like it's 600 homes a year. They're not important enough to get a sales call from the rep, right? So they really depend on their dealers. And so they will go to shows to meet the rep, but they're also going to shows to find out new things. And it seems to me, I'm amazed at how the builder's going to go to the builder show in Orlando in February. And one, I'd want to say, are you going to the show? And what are you looking for? If I were a lumber dealer, what do you hope to find there? And then, of course, if you go to the show, I would be also looking for what your builders have told you that they're interested in, or they're looking for, either specific products or pain points. And then I'd be getting with those builders after the show and comparing notes. What did you find? What did you learn? Because I still find, while we're seeing manufacturers starting to say, "Gee, maybe I should set up my own e-commerce site and start selling my faucets or whatever directly to the builder." And it's, we're heading that direction, but there's still the overwhelming number of builders say, "I don't want to have more suppliers. I have a great lumber dealer, a great relationship with them. I'd like to buy as much from them as I can. I'm important to them. I have leverage with them. I don't have leverage with a manufacturer, and they do a great job for me." But it seems a little bit like a one-way street, where the builder is saying, I've made calls with manufacturers on builders, and they've said, "Oh, I really like this product." And next thing they say, "Here's the name of my lumber dealer. Please contact them because I'm going to want to buy your product through them." Okay. And so I, not seeing where lumber dealers are proactively going to their builder customers and saying, "Hey, here's some new things that, you may be of interest to you. Like, we found this new product that can help do this." And maybe even before you carry it, maybe something like, "Is this something you think we should carry?"
What I'm hearing is that you see this opportunity for lumber dealers to leverage their position in the supply chain.
Yes.
And put a real value add into to their customers by engagement with their customers and finding out what's the best new product to use, as opposed
Yes.
to keeping their head down, doing the same thing over and over, which in today's market is hard to do that where you want to introduce something new and innovative because everybody's making money and we're going at 100% capacity, right?
Yes.
So I hear what you're saying and I understand the challenges that a lumber dealer would face on that, but wow, it seems like there's an opportunity for the innovative, forward-thinking lumber dealer in the supply chain to work in collaboration with these manufacturers and their builders, find pain points and solve problems.
Yes, I think the builder today views the lumber dealer as an essential part of their business, basically because of their service levels. Like they can count on this lumber dealer to deliver for them. So they have a very strong relationship there. I think that as things get more competitive, and we'll see, let's say, the big boxes wanting to take more of the lumber dealer's business. We'll say someone to me is going to eventually become the Amazon of home improvements. Okay. And, I keep waiting to read the paper that Amazon buys Lowe's. Okay. Like Amazon bought Whole Foods. And so it's going to get more competitive. As well as manufacturers who are going to, have their own, let's say, I want to sell you direct. And so it's going to get more competitive. So I think, and you don't want to give away any margin. You got to make a profit on every product, every sale. So it's not about, trying to race your way to the bottom, but it's about adding to what you already do really well. And what I'm talking about is really understanding your builders. What are their threats? What keeps them up at night? Who's their competition? What's going on? And you're constantly thinking in those terms about like how that you can better help them, things you can suggest to them, ideas you can bring them, new product ideas, or perhaps there's been something they've been buying from you for years, and it's just, boy, this is great. Every week I get an order for this, and we make this margin on it. But maybe in the long run, that's probably not a future. Maybe something you have to kind of say, hey, I know you've been using this, but I think here's something that might be a better fit for you.
Yep, that makes sense, and that probably was the role of the lumber dealer all along. And
yes.
Maybe as the business just kind of got going so fast. Well, actually, it's been a roller coaster ride. The beginning of our decade, the business was in the tank, and now we're exploding. And I think it's time to take a little look inside and say, what can I do that's going to add value in this whole supply chain? Well, we're bumping up on the end of our general window here. I always like to finish up with a question, and I queued you up on it before, but what does Mark Mitchell see that other people don't see that is going to be a big deal in the future here? Like, what, as a forward-thinking person of the industry, what would you like to let everybody know that you're keeping your eye on?
Well, there's two things, and I'll just touch on one and go a little more detail in a second. So the first one is people. Okay, just labor, your own people. I just see something has fundamentally changed in, I don't know, the value of work, the value of a job. It's not like I think people are lazy or something, but we're going through a period right now where I just hear companies after companies say, well, I'm ready to hire a new salesperson, but I can't find anybody. And it really doesn't have to do with how much they're going to pay. It's like they can't find anybody that wants to do that job. And so just a thing to really keep in mind is to have your place be known as a great place to work, whatever that means. And then the other one I don't understand is why we haven't seen the lumber dealers / truss manufacturers move their way into wall framing. I just don't understand how I've seen the builders say to me, like, I'm still having trouble with framing. It's probably my single biggest problem. And and the lumber dealers in a great position and truss manufacturer to get in the business of providing wall panels. And I see how quickly it's happened in commercial construction, where people that would be a contractor or distributor now are making, and most of them are metal framed wall panels that are built to the architect's drawings and delivered on a flatbed truck to the job site and numbered in order. And I'm going, if they can do that, and why can't people that already understand the lumber business? It just seems to me that that's a real opportunity. And if I were a lumber dealer, I would be concerned that people like Integra all of a sudden will set a plant up in my city and go to builders and say, here, I'll just deliver you a framed house. Then you can take it from there. And so I don't think Integra is going to be buying their lumber from the local lumber yard. They have a large investor called Louisiana Pacific, and I think they buy train car loads of product. So that's the big thing that maybe it's already on people's radar screens. I just don't see anybody really doing anything about it.
Well, I came from the BCMC show, like I said before. There's more interest than ever in somehow offsite manufacturing, and which solves some of that labor problem, of course. A stick frame building is definitely cheaper to provide by the lumber dealer, but is it the best value? And so I hear what you're saying. A lot of what you're saying is integration between buyer and supplier. Supplier might start taking over some of what the customer actually does, but provide a better solution in the end. I think it all comes back to what we started out with: communication, transfer of information, and labor.
Yes.
But what I do know is we have a massive opportunity on our hands moving forward. We're underbuilt. These homes are not going to get built magically. So had a great opportunity. I appreciate you coming on today. If someone wants to get a hold of you, your website is seethewizard.com. It's in our the notes here.
Right.
You're on LinkedIn, I know, of course. You can find you there.
Also, love to communicate with people on LinkedIn. My website has over 500 blog posts that I've written. You could put about any subject in: how to sell a home builder, how to get a builder to be more loyal, and you'll probably find an article that I've written. And it's not that I'm have all the answers, but I have a point of view that will get you at least to think and help you hopefully get to your get the solution that you need. And then I consult with companies, and twice a year I do a workshop for building material companies and dealers and distributors. And so there's lots of free content that I'm there to help people to grow their business.
Perfect. All right, Mark, thank you so much. Everyone, have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. And as always, we're bringing you thought leaders, good content. We appreciate your support, and good luck. Have a great weekend.